I'm a little bit worried about Kaiju Number 8, the game. And let me explain before we get a little bit too deep into this. This isn't really so much about the game's performance, things like that. Frankly, I'll be doing a video on that topic in a couple of weeks whenever this month's revenue and all that stuff comes in. I'll take a look at it and see what we kind of had going on. And then we'll have to also do another video a month out from that because Steam will be getting released on October 1st. So I'll be attacking that. But it's not so much about the performance of the game. It's about what the hell we can expect. Now, here's the deal. A few days ago, I did a video where I talked about the fact that they teased, the episode. Now, here's the thing with this. This isn't a humongous thing, right? They do this every week. Every single week they put out a little graphic like that where they kind of just cross over with they have a little anime piece or a little anime crossover kind of, or they have a little art piece that kind of ties into what happened during that anime episode this week. And so there's got to be another one of these in a couple days when we get the next episode. But here's the deal. The next episode is kind of crazy. I've said before on the channel that if you've read Kaiju Number 8, frankly, while I enjoy the series, I think it's terribly paced. The last arc is, I think, terribly paced. I think they could have maybe extended this a number of chapters. However, I don't know. Maybe the author was mostly done with it and wanted to move on. Whatever the case is, because it all just goes boom, boom, boom. And that's it. And so the anime, there's probably 3 episodes left, including this next one, or 2 episodes left, including this next one. One of the 2, I've got to go back and confirm. Either way, the anime is entering into the end portion of the series, and it remains to be seen what their plans are. Maybe they'll do a season 3, maybe they'll do a movie. I don't know what the plan is. I mean, they could probably do a 2-parter movie if they truly wanted to do that, but I don't think that's going to happen. And so the whole gist of this is that we are going to get a few really interesting things in the next episodes. So I'm going to just say this. If you don't want to get a full-on spoiler for what's going to happen in a couple days, then feel free to click off at this point. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So in the next episode, we are going to see all 3 of the numbered weapon characters show up. To me, that's hilarious. And that's how it happens mostly anyway. I'm pretty sure it happens within just like a few chapters, which is normal for one episode to adapt that many. But yeah, and so where this is confusing and interesting for me with Kaiju Number 8 is, are they going to try to tie into this like they did with Reno? Was Reno an exception? I gave them a lot of praise for doing this, by the way, because anime games don't do this enough where they tie into an ongoing anime to feed off the hype. Frankly, they should always do this if they can. And that was one of the main reasons why their other game, Dokkan Battle, was so successful back in like 2015 and 16, because Super was running and they were like you had to be there. You just genuinely had to be there. You had to be there, man. And obviously this series doesn't have that juice. It's Dragon Ball. But nonetheless, I'm worried about that, because what are they going to do here? We're going to see Kikuru, we're going to see Gen, we're going to see Hoshina all in their numbers weapon suits, because there's I got to pull it up here, but they show all of them. Look, here's Hoshina right here. So what the hell are they doing? There's no way they drop 3 characters at once. That's not going to happen. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Holy crap, could you imagine that? But I do think there's a good chance that one of these characters gets it. And maybe they keep Kikuru for the next episode, I guess. I don't know if that's... I'm pretty sure she's in there, though. I can't remember if I saw her in the trailer or not. I'm not seeing it here. But, they're going to have that going on ultimately. So I am worried about that. How do they tie into that? Let me know what you guys think. Are we going to get a Gen? Or are we going to get because they also, for the record, this is where it's fun too. For the record, they also didn't release a gacha this week. So Sagan is now almost 2 weeks old. And most gacha games update every 2 weeks. So you better bet your bottom dollar, buddy, that there is going to be a new character within the next 4 days. Next 5 days, give or take. Depends if they want to do it on Saturday or on Tuesday. Anyway, there's going to be a new character within the next week anyway. So you better bet your bottom dollar that with that being the case, they're going to do something. Now, are they going to do another original character like I guess maybe Sagan, somebody else like that could pop in, an original character. It would have to coincide with another chapter to introduce that character, I would imagine. They've got the other girl in. I forget her name, the techie girl. I forget her name. But I don't think she's a playable character. Maybe the other guy, the blonde-haired dude, will be the guy. But I don't know, right? So I would imagine that they're going to try to tie into the anime. And if I had to guess, to be honest, it may be Hoshina. The one that they have. But here's the deal. It doesn't matter who we get next because they're going to do all of them at some point. It truly doesn't matter. They're going to do every single one of them characters, bro. They are going to do assuming the game is up and running, they are going to do every one of those characters. So that's where I'm a little bit concerned because obviously people are and have been and continue to and always will, frankly, always will, regardless of what happens, but people will continue to say there's not anything to do, and there's no way to farm gems. Now, this is where the Sagan release was problematic. Because Sagan released a week into the game. She followed Reno, who was an anime tie-in, for the launch of the game, so obviously everyone went crazy for Reno. She follows as a limited character, and she's also a brand new weapon type. And so if you don't pull either one of the character or the weapon, you kind of just left holding the bag. Like, you can use Sagan, I guess, with the 4-star weapon. Oh my god, don't do that. The 4-star weapon, they made her 4-star weapon comically bad. Like, it's really bad. And there's a lot of good 4-stars, but her shield is comically bad. Anyway, there may be a 4-star Sagan, so there's that. But another thing is she's limited, and so she's not gonna be on the standard pool. Reno should be added to the standard pool sometime soon. But that's problematic because it's a week later, you already didn't have gems. And so if you pulled, maybe you got one, maybe you really wanted Sagan, maybe you didn't get the other, whatever it is, you probably have been pulling on Sagan ever since. And so here we are again with no content and another character. That's the whole gist of why I'm worried about this. And that is the only problem with playing a global game and being caught up with it already. Because if you weren't actively saving and preparing for that, and if you went a little bit too hard, remember, I was saying 2 weeks ago, people were telling me they're still going insane. They're going to like pity on Reno's banner. And I'm like, why? Unless you're spending money. Why? For what reason? There's like a dozen rifles. Why? I get it. It's great. But there's nothing in the game that requires that. You just flat out don't need it. That is simply so you have it. Like for your own ego. That's it. And I get it. Trust me, I get it. I've wailed many a times on these games. I get it. But if you don't have to, you shouldn't. And this game uniquely is positioned because it has jack all that you need. Jack all. There's nothing in here that you literally need in this entire game. So because again, there's a lack of things to do. And so with that being the case, you probably, if you did that, were barely recovering. Like now, not even for Sagan, like now, you're just now recovering, maybe. But there's no like dedicated login bonuses or anything like that. I mean, you're getting you get to a point where you've cleared everything and you're getting like what, 90 gems a day from the dailies? Is it 50 or 90s? I think it's 50. I'm getting 90 because I've got that little $3 thing that whatever. Anyway, so you get to a point where that's all you're getting. And that's not very much. And so again, back to the content thing, the game doesn't really have a replayable form of content in it. They updated Fierce Battle. People were complaining that same night. They cleared it in 10 minutes. Maybe 20. Maybe you did do it in 10. Anyway, but people were complaining that same night, right? Because it was a humongous update and there was jack all in it. There's nothing. Jack all is my new phrase, man. So with that being the case, I am interested and worried about what they're going to do, because the worst thing possible would be to release another character, which, by the way, holy crap, he looks so cool. And another thing here too is there's variations of these characters. Since it's a gacha game, you know they're gonna do all the variations. You're gonna get weapon, full number weapon outfit Gen here, and then you're gonna get the one where he awakens his powers. Then you're also gonna get Hoshina. And then you're gonna get the 1 sword and the 2 sword. You know they're doing and then you're gonna get Kikaru with her numbers weapon 1. Like they're gonna do the whole gambit. Oh my god! Assuming the game's alive. Anyway, that's the one qualifier. And obviously they're gonna have a tie. Oh my god, they're gonna have a tie-in, but this will be next season. So again, that's where the qualifier really comes in. All this stuff is like next season. But they would have a tie-in for Kaiju number 8 with his his squadron style combat and all. They're gonna have it all, man. So maybe at that point the game's better off. But for now, the worst thing they could do is release this without like another piece of content. I've said several times, I think we're basically playing the beta version of the game. I think the game was rushed to coincide with the anime. Frankly, again, they've said it themselves. They had to get this out for season 2 of the anime. I had a couple people say they didn't think the game was rushed for XYZ reason. You're open to an opinion, but there's nothing in this game. It's pretty bare bones. And so with that being the case, I am concerned, right? What are they going to do? And with that also being the case, like I've said, with it being basically the beta version, because frankly, there was no beta, right? Basically the beta version of this game. This is kind of a game where you kind of check back in 6 months. If I'm being completely blunt, this is the type of game you check back in 6 months. There will be a ton for you to do. I'm not telling you to quit. I'm not telling you that. I'm just telling you how it's going to look. It's going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 months to really build a backlog of content. Now, the problem is that if you play that entire 6 months, like I plan to do, there won't be jack all for you to do when you get to 6 months, unless they find a way to make some sort of replayable content or something, like I've been saying, because you'll be caught up on everything, right? But this is that type of game where you've got to kind of just come back. And like I said, when people were saying they cleared everything a day into the game, this ultimately will always, and it doesn't matter what happens, this game will always turn into a game that is predicated on you building up your account in between updates and waiting for the next update, playing it, and then going back to just using stamina. Because that is the simple nature of a single player game. If this game is truly going to be 100% single player, they may be able to add something like that actually incentivizes you to log in and play the game for 20 minutes a day. But it's not going to be a game that is going to have you on and logged in for hours at a time. It's just not that kind of game. There are single player games that are like that. That is not what this game will be, because I can already see it. It's not designed to do that. And so it always was and always will be a game that's going to turn into that. Unless, again, they create something that incentivizes you to play for longer, but even then it's not going to be a really long time. Do you really want that, though? Maybe on Steam you would want that, but a big reason why these Steam releases come out and why people have been wanting Steam is because people don't like playing mobile games on their phone for a number of reasons, like battery drainage, all these other things. So maybe on computer you'd want that more than you want on your phone anyway. But yeah, overall, like I said, I am interested in that. I'm concerned about that. And yeah, so anyway, if you want to know how to get 1,500 dimensional crystals from this event, I did do a video on it. You can check it out. It should pop up on the screen right now. Thank you so much, and I'll see you over there.